Obligatory first-time poster, long-time lurker. You know the drill. I've been holding on to this one for a while. It's not just a petty revenge story. It's a story about standing your ground when no one else will. A few years ago, I worked at a retail company. Nothing glamorous, just your average high street grind. But what made it bearable, even enjoyable, was my manager. Let's call him Mike. Mike was the kind of leader who lifted the whole team. Efficient, supportive, fair. He treated everyone with respect, no matter their position. And he could always be relied on to roll up his sleeves and pitch in when we were swamped. Naturally, because the world rewards competence with punishment, Mike's excellence didn't go unnoticed by upper management. They decided to move him to a struggling branch across town, hoping he could work his magic there too. We were gutted, but none of us blamed him. He deserved every opportunity. Now, the week before Mike was due to transfer, I had to take a short medical leave. Nothing too serious, just minor surgery, but it meant I missed the arrival of our new manager. Let's call him Darren. When I came in on my day off to drop off my sick note and briefly meet Darren, I could already tell something was off. He barely acknowledged me. No smile, no greeting, just this blank, dismissive stare. At first, I chalked it up to a bad day. Maybe I caught him at a rough moment. But it wasn't just one day. Darren turned out to be cold, disinterested, and, to put it bluntly, lazy. We were a customer-facing store, and sometimes we needed manager approval for certain transactions. There was a bell we'd ring from the till to signal a manager. Mike used to respond almost instantly. Darren? He'd just sit there, in the back office, watching the security camera feed like it was a reality TV show. Bell ringing? He'd ignore it. Customers waiting? Didn't care. He found ways to stretch simple tasks into marathons. A stock check that should have taken half an hour, Darren managed to drag it out for an entire 8-hour shift. I'm not exaggerating. He claimed he was being thorough. What he was being was absent and incompetent. But as it turned out, laziness wasn't his worst trait. Darren was also a creep. A massive, uncomfortable, walking HR violation of a creep. The kind who'd lean in way too close when walking past you. Deep breathing in your ear, like something out of a bad horror movie. He'd make comments derogatory, dismissive, and frankly disgusting about women in general. I can't tell you how many times I bit my tongue, but the worst moment, that came when I was doing a task clearly outside my job description. I politely pushed back, and do you know what he said? Darren, why get a dog and bark yourself? Narrator, that was it. That was the moment something inside me snapped. Because you don't get to dehumanize people and expect them to stay silent. Now, here's what Darren didn't know. I had just been promoted, literally a week before he arrived. It wasn't a huge raise or anything flashy, but the new role came with responsibilities, including being a key holder and shift leader. It also came with a mandatory 6-month probation period, which, as it turns out, was the loophole I needed. Narrator, that night I went home, poured a cup of tea, and I wrote my demotion letter. Yes, you heard that right. A resignation from my promoted role, effectively demoting myself back to my previous job title. It was short, polite, and very clear. I was stepping down, effective immediately. No notice period. No discussion. Done. Why? Because I knew the schedule. That night, I was the only key holder on duty alongside one other junior staff member. Darren had scheduled it that way, probably to avoid any work himself. So when my resignation came into effect, guess who suddenly had to stay late and cover all of my responsibilities? Darren. And let me tell you, it wasn't just that night. My stepping down created a cascade effect. For the next 2 weeks, the rota had to be rewritten from scratch. Darren had to pick up triple the hours. No one else was trained to fill my shoes yet. He was furious, of course, but there was nothing he could do about it. Narrator, but I wasn't done. You see, what Darren also didn't know was that I had been documenting his behavior. Every comment, every creepy action. I had dates, times, locations, even witnesses for some of them. We had security cameras all over the store. Footage of him lingering a little too close, leaning in too far, saying things that made people shift uncomfortably. So I booked a meeting with the regional manager. I walked into his office, calm, composed, and prepared. I said, very clearly, I'd like to request a transfer to another branch. if that's not possible, I'll be going to the police with a formal report of sexual harassment. I have evidence. The color drained from his face. He asked to see what I had. I showed him my list. I showed him timestamps and explained how it aligned with the CCTV coverage. I didn't need to show actual footage. Just the fact that I could was enough. He nodded, said he'd take care of it. Narrator. A week later, I was transferred. New store, new team, no Darren. But the story doesn't quite end there. Word got around. Quietly, of course. Retail gossip travels faster than company memos. Darren's hours were reduced. There were whispers of an investigation. The last I heard, he was moved into a non-customer-facing role pending review. And me? I thrived. My new team was amazing. The manager respected me. I eventually got promoted again, this time with proper support and better pay. I never had to look over my shoulder or listen for that disgusting, heavy breathing ever again. Narrator, the lesson here? Sometimes, the best way to fight back isn't with yelling or fists. It's with strategy, with knowing the rules better than the people trying to manipulate them. I didn't scream. I didn't threaten publicly. I documented. I waited. I acted. And in the end, Darren faced the consequences of his own actions. Not because I raised hell, but because I calmly, quietly made it impossible for him to get away with it any longer. So yeah, maybe it wasn't the most dramatic revenge story out there. No courtroom showdown, no viral video, just one tired employee who said, "Enough," and made sure she had a plan. And trust me, sometimes that's more than enough.